Hi everyone, it's Jay. I wanted to do a quick video today talking about just a topic that I feel like I've dealt with a lot, and I'm sure a lot of other females deal with, but it's female friendships and just some of the complications and the things that I've observed that have been a hindrance when it comes to kind of wanting to make more female friends and just hesitations that I have about trying to make more female friends because of past experiences. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, but I noticed a lot of times it's hard to maintain female friendships throughout the years. So, a little bit about me when I was in high school, I definitely had like a core group of female friends. I had one or two best friends. One I really considered a best friend, and the other, I also considered her a best friend, but there was one I was closer with. And then just I had, a circle of friends that I would hang out with, and we would go out and we would talk on the phone and we would text, and it was just kind of something that I thought was going to just maintain itself throughout the course of our lives. And unfortunately, a lot of times I feel like with females in particular, it's hard to maintain friendships. And a lot of times I feel like it's because people end up doing different things in life and start prioritizing different things, particularly like their relationships over their friendships. So, this is just going to be a little bit of not so much me telling you what's like right or wrong or shaming anybody, but this is just going to be me kind of like venting some frustrations and some things that I noticed and just some observations that I've had. So I noticed, particularly with this one female friend, she would always prioritize a man or a relationship over her friends. That was just a given that if he called, she was going to cancel her plans. She was going to drop what she was doing to go see him, even though he wasn't a great guy and he was cheating on her and all these things. But at the time when you're younger, I feel like you just kind of tolerate this a little bit more, or you, maybe think that this is okay. So I dealt with that a lot with this one particular friend, but I had other friends to hang out with, so it wasn't like I was pressed or hyper focused on that one relationship. And then I noticed that every time, she and him maybe broke up or were fighting, she wanted to call me. She wanted to go out. She wanted to go to the club. She wanted to go dancing. She wanted to go to the bar. Like all the things that she wanted to do essentially to take her mind off of him, that's when she would reach out. And it was a little frustrating, and it was like blatantly obvious that that's what she was doing because prior to that, we wouldn't hang out that much. She was always busy, she was always with him, but it was like clockwork. Whenever things didn't work out, she was calling me and she wanted to go out. And I know that some girls are like, oh, that's normal. That's how, girls are. But it's frustrating when you personally will try to make the time for your friends and schedule plans and try to do things and prioritize the friendship, and the other person won't. And I just noticed that eventually over time, things kind of drifted apart. She ended up having some kids and moving in with this person, and or they moved in together. And then eventually our lives just went in different directions. Fast forward to years later in college, I had a friend that I was very close with, and we would hang out a lot and do everything together. And same thing kind of started happening again. This is a different person, but like I said, it's just the pattern. She eventually met this one guy and she was dating him. And when she would hang out with him, she would just completely blow off her plans, sometimes not even call, sometimes not even text, until like hours later to say, oh, she couldn't make it. It was just something that became apparent that she was consumed in that relationship. And I feel like we all kind of go through it at times, but just my observation, I feel like men, they still prioritize their friendship with their guys. They'll still have like a guys' night, or they'll still go and get a drink, and they'll still make time for their friends. And a lot of times I feel like they maintain their friendships from a young age, or from, high school or college, and remain friends for years. I find that it's really challenging for women to do this for some reason. And I think as women get older and they start prioritizing looking for a family, getting married and things like that, I feel like they sometimes can't balance both, having a family life, but then still their own life with their friends. Or maybe they just feel like they're not going to have anything in common with other female friends unless they're in the same uh, situation, unless they're married, unless they have children. And that's also pretty sad, in my opinion. And that's another thing that I notice is a difference between men and women. I feel like even married men with children still will try to keep in contact with their guy friends. Now, I know some people can argue that the woman is taking a lot of the responsibility on when it comes to raising the children, or maintaining things around the household, so she doesn't have as much time. But I really feel like you can make time for the things that you want to make time for. And I feel like, unfortunately, what happens is women that solely will focus on their family and drop all their female friends, they find themselves in a lonely place when things don't work out, or in the event that things don't work out and they want someone to talk to, they want someone to go out with, or, unfortunately, if they have to then start over, then they're reaching out to their single friend, or their non married friend, or their, child free friend. And it can make that friend feel like not really a priority, and sometimes they'll not want to hang out with that friend anymore. So I know from my personal experience, I find that um, if someone is not in the same, like I said, situation, married with children, then even if that other friend is in a relationship, they don't look at it as the same level. And suddenly the friend who is married with children feels like she won't be able to relate. She doesn't have anything in common with that friend anymore. That friend is living a different type of lifestyle. And it's sad. I am personally trying to make an effort, um, or I would try to make an effort if I was married, to still continue to maintain friendships, maintain relationships. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and go to the bar and drink and, meet guys. I think that sometimes that's the misconception, that that's all the single friend is doing, and they're dragging the married friend out to these type of situations that that person doesn't want to be in anymore. No, I've done wine and painting classes with my friend before. We went to the movies together. We went to the mall. Like, there's so many other things that we can do. And I also feel that I'm very open to also hanging out, like bring your kids. But it's just, to me, sad that maybe the other person just doesn't feel like they can relate, or doesn't even give that friendship a chance anymore. So this video, like I said, was just kind of me just venting and talking about things that I've observed with female friendships, and why I find that it's hard to maintain them throughout the course of life. Now, there's some people that have had their friends since high school, and they're friends all the way into like their 80s. And I think that's beautiful, and I think that that's great, and I think that that's amazing. And I think that that's also kind of rare. And I just wish that women in general would value their female friendships. And a lot of times I also notice that it takes very little to break up a female friendship. And what I mean by that is, like you could say the wrong thing to one of your friends and that's it. She can never forgive you. You're a horrible person. She can't move past it. She'll hang on to it for 10, 20 years. Meanwhile, her boyfriend or her husband could say horrible things to her, could cheat on her, could lie to her, could, do all sorts of crazy things. And she will still take so much time to nurture that relationship, to try to fix it, to forgive him, to make excuses for him, but she won't have the same grace for her female friends. So I think that females in general, when it comes to maintaining your relationships with your friends, you need to have the same standards that you do for your friendships, for your relationships. If you're going to give people grace and forgiveness and make excuses for them in a relationship, then you need to translate that. That same energy needs to be given to all of your relationships, your friendships as well. Friendships are just as important as relationships, and I think that people don't really value that or realize that until it's too late, until they really realize that, they have no one to go out with, they have no one to hang out with. When, unfortunately, if they are getting a divorce, then they want to reach out to everybody and try to see who's still around and who's still available and who wants to hang out with them. And suddenly, like, they're out of this days that they've been in for years and they realize the importance of friendship and all this and that. So I think that we should just try to do better as a whole collective, like as women in general, to try to nurture our friendships and all of our relationships. If anyone has any comments or wants to share anything or, totally disagrees, that's fine. You can leave your comments below and I will talk to you soon. Take care.